Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Once again, we'll be talking about Pakistan-Afghanistan relations. As you know, that the tension still persists despite the fact that the ceasefire has been extended for another 48 hours. As most of our viewers knows, that the friendly countries have been involved, and there are diplomatic sources which say that the talks are also they have started in Doha, in Qatar, between the two countries. So Pakistan, as the Prime Minister, has shared a meeting today where the leadership of the armed forces was also there, and the senior concerned ministers were also there. The chief ministers were there, except the chief minister of KP. And the message is very clear, loud and clear, that Pakistan is not going to accept any terrorism involvement of Taliban or the Afghan land inside Pakistan. This is the agenda number one. The second is the repatriation of the refugees. Naturally, almost over 4 decades, these Afghan brothers and sisters, they have been living here. But now Pakistan is facing a very serious security challenge. And that's why the Pakistan has taken this decision a few years back. But the UN and other agencies, they were not supporting Pakistan in the manner they should have been to repatriate these Afghan refugees back to their country when Afghan Taliban claim that their country is under control and there is a peace. So I have a very prominent, distinguished guest with me, Dr. Hassan Farooq Mashwani. He's a chairman, School of Peace and Counterterrorism Study at Minhaj University, Lahore. Thank you very much, Dr. Sab. Kindly tell me that how you see in the present circumstances this another extension, and do you see that this conflict is going to be resolved through the dialogue?
First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to talk on this very significant and very pressing subject right now, which is in the media of Pakistan, in the media of international channels, and all the friendly countries. You see, Pakistan and Afghanistan perhaps are the two unique countries in the world who have a lot of commonalities. Like, we have shared border, we have shared values, we have shared history, we have common language, we have common culture, and we have even common geography, and we are religiously, I must say, unanimous with each other. But still, hostility between these two neighbor countries is a very challenging and a very pressing issue for the two countries, especially a country like Pakistan, who has fought a full-fledged war at its eastern border just a few months ago. Pakistan, in no cost, can afford a volatile situation at its western border. But as they say, enough is enough. Pakistan has been respecting, Pakistan has been rather welcoming, Pakistan has been perhaps promoting the Afghan interest over the decades. But on the other hand, the second partner, or the second, I must say, respondent has always either showed a cold shoulder, or he has tried to smash something upon the face of its eastern brother or eastern neighbor. So I would say that Pakistan has to have a very solid and very comprehensive strategy regarding Afghanistan. Still, Afghanistan is dependent upon Pakistan and for its various issues like trade, like health, like education, and so many other things. But the Afghan present regime is showing red eyes to the Pakistani people and its government, which is very alarming, I must say.
So what's your assessment? Do you think that the present tension is going to persist, or you will see a kind of a change of mind and a heart of the Taliban regime regarding the issue of terrorism that Pakistan has been raising?
Look, Afghanistan, in my calculation, Afghanistan is a country of wars, warriors, warlords, weapons, and woes. And certainly it always had a spillover effect on the security situation in Pakistan. So we means Pakistan need to
No,
understand.
Mr. Mashwani, do you think that the Afghan nation, the Afghan people, they have this destiny to remain in a war situation, in a terrorism situation? They don't need to have a right to, a good and peaceful living.
Very interesting question. Look, you are the engineer of your own luck. You have to engineer your own luck. The Afghan people have to engineer their luck. They cannot and they should not bypass their internal issues on Pakistan's shoulder. And I must say that we as Pakistanis need to understand that the Afghan current regime do not have the capacity to establish its writ on the entire Afghan soul. That is a big question.
And one of the reasons may be that they don't have an inclusive government. They don't have included the other ethnic, communities, and representation of those communities is not present in Kabul. That may be one of the reasons.
Of course, that is one of the major reasons. On the other hand, they don't have institutions building. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the interaction, the kind of interaction with the rest of the world to establish the writ and to build an infrastructure, to build institution inside their country. And the most unfortunate thing is that the Afghan current regime do not even understand or accept this reality that they don't have the capacity. I must say that they should have asked Pakistan and other friendly countries to help them in resurrecting their national institutions like the Afghan police, the Afghan armed forces, the Afghan infrastructure, so that they could strengthen their writ of the government over the urban areas as well as the rural areas.
It depends on the intention of the leadership. When the leadership intention is to nourish the terrorists and terrorism like India. What I see is over the years, in last 2, 3, 4 years since they have taken over as an interim regime, they have been using terrorism as a state policy against Pakistan, like the Indians have been doing, and they went to the Indians and they sat with them. And they have openly declared the same terrorism war against Pakistan like the Indians are doing.
Of course, if you could recall or if you could Google out the Indian media, they were chanting in the post-US withdrawal era in Afghanistan that the Taliban, the radicals, the terrorists have taken the control over this Afghanistan. And today, they, in the animosity of Pakistan, they have not only joined hand together, rather they are looking for the future cooperation, and this cooperation is perhaps more directed towards the animosity of Pakistan. Otherwise, what is common between Afghanistan and India? Nothing is common between Afghanistan and India. The only common thing is that they need to ambush Pakistan. They need to frustrate Pakistan.
In the diplomacy, it is said that nothing is permanent in the diplomacy. They are the interests which are permanent. And I believe is that the Taliban might have been thinking that they are going to blackmail Pakistan while sitting with the Indian, foreign minister or the leadership, spending time over there and, issuing a statement against Kashmiris, while keeping Pakistan into the mind. So that may be one of the strategies to blackmail Pakistan.
Of course, you are absolutely right. If you look at the international affairs or in the international politics, there are two kinds of engagement. One is the constructive engagement, the kind of engagement that has been existed between Pakistan and China for decades. That is the constructive engagement. That is called the win-win situation. That is called the the respecting each other's sovereignty and respecting each other's interests with a lot of commonalities. On the other hand, there is an engagement between India and Afghanistan, which I don't see is in the constructive direction. That is only for the for destabilizing Pakistan. That is only to nurture the terrorists inside the Afghan territory, and they are heavily been funded by the Indians. The Fitna al-Khawarij and the Fitna al-Hindustan is actively working against Pakistan's sovereignty and Pakistan's stability. So that is, I must say, that is a negative engagement between our two neighbors, which is very unfortunate.
So do you think the dream of friendship and brotherhood, it has been shattered, and now we have to see Afghanistan as another country, and we have to protect our own interests first instead of protecting others, at the cost of Pakistan?
Of course, Pakistan has responded very meticulously. I must appreciate that the Pakistani response, the response of the Pakistan armed forces were absolutely credible, because we are a nation at whose almost every border there is some sort of uncertainty and unrest. So Pakistan cannot be lazy, I must say, ignorant of any volatile situation arising at our borders. The response of Pakistan was amazing, but I must say that Pakistan should not allow the Afghan current regime to heighten its stature. They are like a dwarf in front of a nuclear armed Pakistan, which is the fifth largest army and a very competent, very capable, and very committed to their national security. So we need to engage them the way they should be, because if we allow them to engage us like the two partners or the two sides, I must say that will not be a healthy sign from the Pakistani side.
So what is the responsibility? What is the sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Mashwani? Kindly tell me that since the Taliban agreed, in 2021 when they were signing an agreement in Qatar with the Americans, that they will not allow their land to be used against any country of the world, and naturally Pakistan is one of those countries. First, second is, what is the responsibility of the international community, those countries which have, other than, I'm talking about the India, the Russians, the Chinese. Naturally the Chinese and the Russians, they do want that there should be a peace in Afghanistan, and the responsibility of the United Nations and America and the Western countries.
You see, when this Doha Accord was being talked, Pakistan was a big facilitator. Pakistan was bridging the two sides. And after the withdrawal of the United States from Afghanistan, Pakistan was the greatest support of the current regime in Afghanistan, you see. And Pakistan also demanded or requested United States for so many times that it has to unfreeze the Afghan funds, which was around $7 to $8 billion. So Pakistan was energetically supporting the Afghan interim government.
But we were always supporting to them. But on the other hand, they have been exporting the terrorism to Pakistan. They have been using the same weapons left by the Americans inside Afghanistan. Now they are using against Pakistan, and this has been on the record said by the DGISPR in many of his briefings,
Yes, of course. I was coming to that point that it was very unfortunate that a country who is supporting you full-heartedly,
no, but my question is, what is the responsibility of the international community in this regard?
Yeah. You see that the United Nations has given a statement that the two sides, which is, I must say, like, this is a formal statement that the two sides needs to maintain calmness. Same is the case that the Chinese have also requested that the two sides need to maintain calmness. Saudi Arabia and so many other friendly countries, especially the regional powers, I mean the Chinese and the Russians, would not be too much contented on the situation, because China and Russia want to see this region as peaceful as possible. But it's very unfortunate that the Afghan Taliban could not understand the concerns of all the regional players and their neighbors, and even the Muslim countries. Like Qatar is also trying to facilitate the two sides to reach to an agreement. Saudi Arabia is requesting. So the Afghan Taliban need to understand that this is not a stone era. You have to live in the international community as an international responsible player, is an internationally recognized responsible administration. So they are not in the stone age. They need to understand, they need to address the concerns of Pakistan first, and the regional players, and also the international community. So the international community can do, I must say, like they can sanction some country. So the Afghan government is not recognized, the Afghan interim setup is not recognized by anyone. So I think they have nothing to lose, I must say. They are already showing the ruins, as we say in Urdu, like the Khandrat. It has been demolished by the 4 decades of wars. Pakistan need to be very intelligent in handling this very incapable Afghan interim government. We need not allow them to raise themselves up to our level, because Pakistan is a very responsible and a very established power at the international level.
But Pakistan doesn't have any other choice. When our officers are being martyred every day, when the soldiers are being martyred and they are being killed. Naturally, their families then ask you that for what we are waiting. Why we cannot ask the Afghan government, the interim government, that they should stop these terrorists. Just tell me, what should Pakistan send back all the refugees that Pakistan has been saying that they should go back to Afghanistan now?
This is a very, very pressing question, I must say. Look, there are a different type of Afghan who are residing in Pakistan. Number one is the legal Afghan refugees who have been recognized by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, as refugees. And almost double of them have been those who have been illegally living in Pakistan. When Pakistan decided in 2023 to send them, all of them, these illegal Afghans residing inside Pakistan, the international community and even the Afghan government, they started saying that the Pakistani government or the Pakistani officials are sending the Afghan refugees. No, sir. So far, the Pakistani government have not sent even a single Afghan refugee. They have sent the illegal Afghans from its soil. But now, shelling on the Pakistani armed forces and shelling on rocketing on the Pakistani innocent civilians. One country cannot afford hosting more than 1.3 millions. Either they are refugees or not. Of course, Pakistani government and Pakistani establishment have to have a very solid and a very, very calculated strategy to send them back to their country. And we need to, you see, there are almost 40 identified crossing points at the Pak-Afghan border. I must also say that Pakistan need to look into the Pak-Afghan transit trade agreement as well. Because till the time we do not punish these people through different means, they will not stop killing our innocent people and our brave armed soldiers. So sending the Afghans back to their country should be the number one strategy. And simultaneously, Pakistan should also think, and Pakistan should also reconsider the Pak-Afghan transit trade strategy, because the weapons and all these the smuggled goods, they are through the Pakistani ports to the Afghanistan and then sent back to the Pakistani territory. So, as they say that you stone at my house and I should present you flowers, it's not possible.
Just tell me that how you see the future. Do you think that the dialogue, through dialogue, the Taliban, this interim regime, would be agreeing to the Pakistani demands, or there would be another tension in the coming days?
I must say that you see the people, the tribes who are living at the on the two sides of the Pak-Afghan border, they have shared interests. Like they have relationship with each other. Their families are on the both sides. Their trade are on the both sides, and still for the knowledge of our audience, there is a Rahdari system which is very much localized on the Pak-Afghan borders. So I must say that the Pashtun living on the border side, they will certainly demand from the Afghan Taliban and the terrorists that stop it, because it is not in their interest. So I can also see that the people from these areas who are residing closer to the Pakistani border, they will certainly demand the peace from the Afghan, from Kabul, to remain calm
Okay.
and establish
Okay.
good relations with Pakistan.
Finally, Mr. Mashwani, just tell me that the provincial government of KP, the new chief minister, since there must be a pressure on him from the leadership and from the party. That's why he could not attend a very important meeting in Islamabad headed by the prime minister, uh, which is administratively not correct. He's representing a very sensitive promise, in fact. So they are saying that there should not be any operation inside KP. One, second, there should be a dialogue with Afghanistan. Two, third is that the provincial government and the provincial elders, prominent people should be consulted for having a policy with Afghanistan. So do you think that a province or a federating unit can dictate the federal government when the country is bleeding like anything?
Uh, I must say that we need to intelligently look into this matter. Certainly not. Any federating unit, you see, when there was a standoff with India, the entire Pakistani nation was behind the Pakistani armed forces. So that kind of solidarity is required whenever somebody is challenging the sovereignty of Pakistan. Number one. Number two, if you recall your memory back to 2014, when there was this in the post APS incident, by that time the PTI government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa was very much in favor of sending the Afghan back to Afghanistan, the Afghan refugees and the illegal Afghans, in the National Action Plan. They were supporting
under
this.
the under the first national action plan, and then it
Yeah,
was revised in 2021 during the PTI
yeah,
government, in fact.
yeah. But at the same time, one can also give a space to the new chief minister, because he is not as much politically mature or expert as somebody can expect from him. One, secondly, he has resumed his office just recently. He
No,
would be
but
having.
there's a party, there's a chief secretary, there's a IG, there's a whole bureaucracy, there's a whole structure of the government, there is a political structure of the party. So I
Yeah,
mean, this could
I'm
not be, this excuse could not be accepted,
no,
could
no. I'm
not be
not.
accepted.
I'm not giving any excuse. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that he would be having
you're right,
different
you're right to that
briefings
extent
from
that
from all these
yeah.
stakeholders. He will be having briefings from all these stakeholders. And number three, of course, the people of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are facing this terrorism since last 4 or 5 decades. The entire infrastructure in the province, especially in the Fata areas, has been demolished as a result of the attacks, as well as the uncertainty, the terrorism, and everything. So I would say that, of course, there has to be a dialogue first strategy, but that has to be connected with the federation. That should not be in isolation. That should never, never, ever be in isolation. A province cannot talk to some other country in isolation. If the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government wants to establish peace or dialogue with the Afghan interim government, that has to be through Islamabad, not
And
Peshawar to Kabul.
naturally, their parliamentarians representation in the lower house as well as in the upper house. It is there, so they can take part into the debate. And I think almost same policy, because the foreign policy is most of the time is the same in every government, where
Of
the
course.
interest of the state is protected, in fact, not any individual or a political party or a federating unit, but the interest of the entire country is being protected.
Of course, I'm absolutely sure about it that any strategy, any demand, any thinking, any, I must say, like consideration for the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa people and the government has to be through Islamabad. There is no second opinion on that. But of course, this is the bordering province, and the entire, I must say, the stakeholders, all the stakeholders should sit together and formulate a uniform and a consolidated strategy that how we need to handle situations across the border and even inside the border. And what should we do for the Afghans who are residing at the Pakistani soil for decades, for around 5 decades? The strategy should be formulated unanimously, and it should be practiced or exercised unanimously. There is no second opinion on that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan Farooq Mashwani, Chairman, School of Peace and Counterterrorism Studies, Minhaj University, Lahore. Thank you very much for your precious time.
My pleasure to talk to you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.